Okay, we got anybody else that wants to speak on this issue of a special election? Be in favor or against?
I'd like to speak on the issue, but not necessarily in favor or against.
Well, you might need, let's hold you for public forum then. I mean, because right now we need to talk about just the special election.
Well, you've got a forum on the term limits and the Supreme Court ruling. Already, you've got two people on those two topics. Are they irrelevant to the question before the commission right now? Are they irrelevant to the question of a special election?
Just, sir, due to we've got rules of the commission, and only commissioners two can talk about issues that's before us. The issue right now is, do you want to have a special election or do you not? I mean, you can talk to that issue, but...
Well, I'll talk to that issue. I like to see a special election.
We need your name and address for the record, please.
Mac Simpson, 5547 Woodburn Drive. The question of a special election assumes somewhat the importance before the local government of Knox County. It seems to me that Iraq holds before the United States government, or certainly then the president's ability to govern holds before the United States government. State government is a very active scene right at the moment. I spent my life talking about governments, not just government, but governments, and not just politics, but politics at the University of Tennessee. And I don't think that I can get away from talking about some things that are a little bit off from the center core of special election. We can say special election, special election, special election, and say it 15 times. And we're not much closer to understanding what a special election, what importance it assumes for this community, and what importance the people whom we're going to elect, if we elect to have a special election, what the importance of those people is to the people of this community. I'm not getting close to my 5 minutes, but I'm getting close to sitting down.
Thank you, Mac.
Thank you. Okay. We've had a call for the question. We're on the resolution 907. Commissioner Greasy, you want to state your motion again? Or?
Yeah, I'll do that. We'll wait for Commissioner Lambert to get back as well. But the motion is to, with the help of the state legislature, ask for a special election to fill these offices, with the caveat being that it be a single election, winner take all, regardless of what percent the top vote getter gets in each category.
Okay, so we ready to vote? Okay, Commissioner Fowler.
It's been brought up about a majority or two-thirds. Does that factor into this vote at all?
I guess we can send it. If it gets 10, we could send it, but I read in the paper, I believe it said Senator Burchant requested two-thirds majority of this body.
Let's see what it does.
And tell us again, when do you think that vote would, or the election would be? How long?
I don't think anybody knows. I mean, it's got to go through their committees on both House and the Senate side, signed by the governor, passed on the floors of both houses. It could possibly be end of session.
Or it could possibly be in the first week in February.
It could be. That's a chance. That's a chance this body's going to take. That the Supreme Court may come down and throw everybody out, and then you're going to leave with 11 instead of 19. So, we're ready to vote. So, all in favor of a special election say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
No. Roll call it.
Okay, we'll do a roll call starting in the 9th district for Commissioner Jordan.
9th district.
9th district.
Commissioner Pinkston. Commissioner Clark. Commissioner Mills.
No.
Commissioner Ballard.
No.
Commissioner Moore.
No.
Commissioner Smith.
Yes.
Commissioner Lambert. Commissioner Kaywood, Commissioner Grease,
Yes.
Commissioner Luthold, Commissioner Hammond, Commissioner Smith,
No.
Commissioner Guda, Commissioner Ivan Harmon,
No.
Commissioner Norman,
No.
Commissioner Ten,
No.
Commissioner Mark Harmon,
Yes.
Commissioner Strickland,
No.
Commissioner Jordan.
We had 14 ayes and 14 noes, so the motion fails.
Can't have 14.
5 noes.
Could you ask if anybody wants to change?
5 ayes and 14 noes. Does anybody wish to change their vote?
Can't do it now, you've already announced it.
All right. Motion fails. Okay, we're on 906.
906 is consideration of a resolution of the Commission of Knox County, Tennessee, approving a special procedure by which to replace the 8 commissioners and 4 county-wide elected officials affected by the Supreme Court ruling.
Okay, intergovernment.
On a vote of 9-0, we had no recommendation.
Okay, Finance Committee.
Finance, vote of 8-0, no recommendation.
Okay. Do we have a motion, or Commissioner Harmon?
I make a motion that we pass.
Do we have a second?
I'll second to get on the floor.
Seconded by Commissioner Smith. Okay, Commissioner Harmon, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. As you heard in the previous debate, Commissioner Smith, Commissioner Mike Hammond was struggling with the notion of trying to get as much public involvement with, at the same time, struggling to get a speedy process that resolves the issue. And this is my way of trying to accomplish both goals. It seems to me that one thing we could do is a non-binding referendum, fancy word plebiscite, but a non-binding referendum. My resolution has a very specific timetable. We would seek persons who would self-nominate in the period from January 23rd, closing February 6th. Next 10 days, the Commission would hold 1 or more public forums where people could stand up and speak about who they are, why they want the job, and face questioning from the commissioners, and perhaps a forum where they could face questioning from the public. I've heard it said that anybody can stack a meeting, but you know what? If a whole bunch of groups try to stack a meeting, what you have is something called good attendance. And then, February 17th to the 24th, we actually conduct this plebiscite using the early voting sites. That will and the early voting sites only. That will significantly reduce the costs. And then the results of that would come before us as a motion. And as any motion that comes before us, we could ignore it, we could amend it, or we could pass it. But I would suggest that we would ignore the will of the voters in this case at our peril. I think this is the proper way that gets it done most speedily and finds a way to incorporate the will of the voters. I know there's some modest cost involved of running a plebiscite, but it's significantly less cost than going through 2 election cycles, as we've already defeated anyhow, and it opens up the process. There's a little more respect for it. We may do a very good job and may run a very good meeting, but if the public doesn't believe us, what good was it? So my suggestion is that this plebiscite has a lot of merit, and I hope people will go for this non-binding referendum.
Thank you. Commissioner Smith.
I commend Commissioner Harmon on attempting a solution, and I pretty much agree with much of what he says. The only problem I have with it, and even though I second it, I want to get this on the floor, was the non-binding vote at the cost of public money. I'm a little skeptical of that because it's non-binding, and therefore we might go through the process of spending money for a vote that none of us may even agree on. We are a representative democracy, therefore we do represent the interest, we hope to represent the interests of our constituents, and that is the process of which we have set up.
Mr. Smith, may I?
Go ahead.
The reason I made it non-binding is to make it binding would make it the equivalent of an election, would bring in all sorts of election regulations, which would stretch it out.
I understand. But also, I will go back to my previous set about Commissioner Grease's resolution of winner, sort of a winner-take-all without any way of coalescing and narrowing the number of candidates where we might have somebody that wins by simple 15%, 20%, and that's not exactly a ringing endorsement within a district. Secondly, I believe, and I want to direct these questions to the law director,